Against Daniel Rowsell. Has only lost twice in 13 fights, Paul Murdoch. And he is going to be a very awkward customer for Daniel Rowsell. They've met once before. It was a split points decision in favour of Rowsell. Murdoch, looking for his first Australian title, is a very accomplished performer. But the reason Paul Murdoch and Daniel Rowsell are fighting for this Cruiserweight title is because Adam Watt vacated to allow these two gentlemen to fight for the Australian title. And let's have a look at Adam Watt and Daniel Rowsell and what they had to say.
I know I've had a few little things going wrong in those fights, and I'm going to get back to doing what I do best and knocking guys out.
What do you expect to see from Paul Murdoch in this fight? Do you expect to see anything new?
Yeah, he's a pretty good technician. His father's pretty much on the ball that trains him. He knows, he's probably going to know what to expect from me, but then again, I think they're going to be thinking that I'm a little bit, like I've been going a little bit ordinary in my last couple of fights, and I think they'll think that they're going to have things a bit easier than what they will.
What will it mean to you winning this Australian title?
Well, you know that yourself, don't you? It's a big thing for anybody, and I'm actually privileged for the chance to fight for it, and I couldn't have done that without you relinquishing that title and giving me the shot.
Updating Fox Sports News, the West Indies are on the ropes on the third day of the first test at the Gabba. At lunch they were on 6 for 81 with Ridley Jacobs, the last wicket to fall before the break. He was caught by Mark Waugh off the bowling of Andy Bickle for 4. Champion mare Sunline has produced a great trial for the rich Hong Kong Mile. The dual Cox Plate winner was ridden out hands and heels by Greg Childs to win the Breeders' Stakes in New Zealand. And in the NBL, the Sydney Kings have suffered a surprise 3-point loss to the Brisbane Bullets, while the West Sydney Razorbacks went down by 1 point to Perth. Get the complete picture tonight on Fox Sports News at 7 o'clock Eastern Daylight Saving Time.
There's a lot of people in my neighborhood that are dead or dying from something.
Somewhere out here, somebody had to have seen what happened.
What price is he willing to pay?
I know who did it.
Objection. To uncover the truth.
You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
The truth. I thought we were talking about a court of law.
A civil action. Premiere season commences tonight on Showtime.
You're looking for a fight? Some advice. Stay focused. Be confident. Don't lose your head. Never underestimate your opponent. Always be prepared for the unexpected. Punch hard. Kick hard. Defend hard. Tonight on Fox Sports 2, a ferocious card from the House of Stausch, including the most famous kickboxer on the planet, Stan the Man Longanides. Tarek selects kickboxing tonight, 9 o'clock, Fox Sports 2.
We're at Fort Knox for a tremendous live evening of boxing here. 2 Australian titles to look forward to, including the Australian Cruiserweight belt, which is going to be decided next between Paul Murdoch and Daniel Rowsell. And then we'll see Julian Holland and Josh Crenshaw before the light heavyweight Australian title between Adrian Bellin and Paul Briggs. But Murdoch and Rowsell, they met earlier this year, back in February. It was on the 11th at the Snake Pit. A split points decision going to Daniel Rowsell. The tail of the tape is going to tell you that Rowsell is just a little taller than his opponent at 187 centimetres as opposed to 186. And as you can see, he will enjoy a slight edge in reach as well. 86.18 is the limit for the Cruiserweights. And both men, as you can see, are just under it. 190 pounds in the old language. Murdoch 188, Daniel Rowsell 189. And I have to say, Barry, we've seen Daniel Rowsell fight right up to heavyweight here in Knox, where he fought for the Victorian title. I've never seen him look in better shape.
He does look in beautiful condition. Just that little bit of a short they showed before, he really looks trim. He looks focused. You know, it's a big chance for him for the Cruiserweight title, and both boys are undoubtedly in the best condition of their lives. But Danny Rowsell certainly does look good there.
It's Daniel Rowsell. Asked if I could just mention his sponsors. Sportsbet Australia now looking after him, and he's pretty happy about that. Wired.com also helping him out, along with Limelight Science, and given Daniel's ability to give his sponsors a plug. Limelight Signs are probably the best aptly named sponsor that Daniel Rowsell could have. Daniel Rowsell makes his way to centre ring. I can tell you that the Australian National Boxing Federation Secretary Brad Vicali has joined both myself, Barry Michael, at ringside to help us out with some commentary. Brad, welcome to you, the Australian Cruiserweight title. This should be an excellent battle.
John, thanks. It's an absolute pleasure. Yes, this is going to be a terrific fight. I've been looking forward to this, and as you well know, that Adam Watt was the Australian Cruiserweight champion, and I've spoken with Adam's connections, and they were very fortunate that he fought for a world title, and he's really gone at the level above that now. And we've got the best two cruiserweights in the country, I believe, fighting for this title now, apart from Paul Briggs, who, as you well know, has taken both the cruiserweight and the light heavyweight division by storm. He's wrung the neck of the divisions and really he's beaten everybody, so he's now decided to fight as a light heavyweight. So these two blokes here are really the best cruiserweights in this country.
Yes, and Paul Murdoch has come a long way in a short space of time. He's had 13 fights, he's won 10 of them, and Barry Michael, you've seen him in action probably more than most. He always presents himself well in the ring and always switched on right from the start.
Yeah, John, I think his fight with Gavin Ryan, who's very well credentialed Australian fighter, ex-OPBF champion, ex-Australian champion. The fight with Gavin Ryan was really a step up for Paul. I mean, he really showed punches and combinations and moves that he hadn't used before. His last fight was a fairly easy two-round KO over Scott Parker, but the fight with Gavin Ryan showed me that Paul Murdoch can step up to that next level, and I think it's going to be a great Cruiserweight Championship fight tonight.
Prestigious Australian Cruiserweight title is on the line. Daniel Rowsell in against Paul Murdoch. Let's take you upstairs to our third man in the ring, Mr. Terry Hansen.
Ladies and gentlemen, 12 3-minute rounds to decide the Australian Cruiserweight title, vacated by Adam Watts. Both fighters show their appreciation to Adam in vacating this crown. In the red corner, an Australian amateur title holder, last seen at the Gold Coast when he stopped. The fight was stopped for a cut-eye against Paul Briggs in the IBF Pan Pacific Cruiserweight title. 12 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 4 KOs. Daniel Rowsell. His opponent in the blue corner, fresh off a second-round KO over heavyweight Scott Parker. Close points losing to Daniel in Wollongong earlier this year, gunning for his first Australian title. 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 3 KOs. Trained by Bob Murdoch from Geelong, Paul Murdoch. Referee for this title fight will be Jim Boland, judges Jim Slatter, Gus Mercurio, and Dave Wignall.
Final instructions from referee Jim Boland, Jim Slatter, Gus Mercurio, Dave Wignall. Our judges are ringside should they be required at the end of 12 rounds. I think a man with a huge knockout record, Murdoch with 3 from his 10 wins, Rowsell with 4 from 12. So 12 rounds isn't out of the question. And the Australian Cruiserweight title is up for grabs here. Paul Murdoch in the black trunks, Daniel Rowsell from New South Wales in the red and gold. What should be a very exciting fight. Rowsell, former amateur Australian champion, looks in great shape. Paul Murdoch continues to improve since making his debut in Geelong back in March 1998. And he is looking for revenge after losing a close split points decision back in February to Daniel Rowsell on that occasion at the Snake Pit in Wollongong. Both men very well skilled, stylish fighters, Barry.
They both are. They both got beautiful left hands, good defences, both very well tutored by their respective trainers. Bobby Murdoch, of course, Paul's father, ex-Australian champion. But, both guys already, you can see the class they've got, leading beautifully with the left hand. Nice combination there from Danny Rowsell. Looks very sharp, very fit tonight, Daniel Rowsell. Oh, lovely left hook from Paul Murdoch. Lovely short left hook. Now, going to be a real classic contest, this.
Rowsell starting the better, but Murdoch quickly landed the left hand, and that took the wind out of his sails.
We've got a case of Rowsell, John, as ever the showman. He's neat, he's tidy. He's been sparring with the Australian heavyweight champion, Carly Meehan. 10 rounds. He's been sparring quite regularly, and I believe they've had some pretty good spars as they've been going. But Murdoch, ever the workman. Just nothing pretty about him. He's just a hard charger who just works very, very hard.
Throwing good, accurate straight punches as well, Barry.
Beautiful left hand. I reckon Paul Murdoch's got the best left jab in the country at the moment. That, you know, look at those beautiful jabs he was landing. Good, clean jabs, Brad. I think he's got a great jab.
He just does it naturally. He's a very professional fighter, and he's been well tutored by Bobby. And Bobby fought my old trainer, Stretch Anderson, back on the old TV ringside days, John. And when he's been around a long time, so Paul Murdoch has grown up with a boxing family, and that's something that's very... it's hard to replace, isn't it?
Oh, it's important, for sure. Got the pedigree.
Very even opening round so far.
It is very even. Very, you know, technical display by both boys. Working off their... They've both got great left hands.
Rowsell looks very, very fit. You can see he's done the work, John. He's really been prepared for this fight. It's his chance. But then again, Paul, he's got to overcome Paul Murdoch. He's got to beat Paul. He's beaten him once before, but we're talking a different fight tonight.
Australian title on the line. The last time we saw Daniel Rowsell at this venue, he was 95 kilos. He's come in here for this battle, 85.85, and that's why he looks so trim and terrific at the moment.
Yeah, he had a small self-imposed break from the sport, and he put on a little bit of weight, and he came back, and he lost to James Grimer for the Victorian heavyweight title, I believe, in that. It was a very close fight, but he's not a heavyweight. He's a natural cruiserweight. You can see that. He came in at 85.95.
Right.
End of round number one. Paul Murdoch and Daniel Rowsell for the Australian Cruiserweight title. Difficult one to try and separate.
Yeah, not going to separate them that round.
Barry, come on.
What do you reckon, Brad?
Oh, I think Murdoch just shaded that.
If anyone showed that Paul did, but I'm going to call it even. Call it 10-10.
Get out of the way from the thing. Mate, these early rounds, went on the right here, mate. Jab, there's plenty of work. Come on, mate. Can't let these early rounds go, bud, huh? Where's his mouth guard? His mouth guard, mate. Damn, we've got to do plenty of work.
Trainer Frank King there with the instructions for Rowsell. Here he is. Some of the better action from round number one. Murdoch backing him up there.
Both boys work well with their jabs. Murdoch probably a little bit better.
It's good settling in round for both boys.
Underway, round number two for the Australian Cruiserweight title. It's 86.18 kilos, the weight limit, or 13 stone 8 in the old language. Paul Murdoch in the black trunks at the moment. Daniel Rowsell in the red and gold, both searching for their first professional Australian title. Pretty difficult to separate them through the first round, although Brad Vicali did see it 10-9 for Paul Murdoch. And Barry Michael and myself both scoring 10-10. Which is somewhat surprising, given that Barry Michael can be a little one-eyed in terms of victorious.
Good uppercut from Danny Rowsell there.
Paul's looking quite ominous with that little sneak overhand right that he's just missed Daniel with a couple of times. Nice little uppercut from Daniel there.
Yeah, he's landed 3 of those this round so far. Very good little uppercuts.
Daniel Rowsell was talking about Carly Meeing having an excellent jab and excellent sparring for him. I'm glad that he's had that, because Paul Murdoch, as Barry Michael has said, his jab out there, it's not too shabby either.
No, he's got a good left hand. Terrific left hand. Considering Bob Murdoch, when he was a fighter, was a southpaw, John.
He's still got to have a jab, Dave.
And Murdoch that left hand again.
Paul just looks like he's been able to settle in a little bit better than Daniel at this time. Daniel looks a little nervous, I guess, but it's the same in any fight. Any fight, that any fighter who's of equal abilities, the bloke who's going to win the fight's most likely the bloke who settles down first.
Big moment, or biggest moment for both men. First Australian title. Exchanged left hands on that occasion.
Oh,
Murdoch to the body, and that grabbed the attention of Rowsell, now trying to protect his rib cage.
And another nice left hand.
That's what I noticed in Paul's last couple of fights with Gavin Ryan. With Gavin Ryan particularly, his left grip to the body has really, you know, come of age. his jab, and he leads off his jab, rips straight afterwards, and, you know, follows up with the hooks as well.
It's amazing, Barry. Both of these boys had terrific fights with Gavin Ryan, and he's a tremendous competitor, Gavin Ryan, and they both turned the corner after they fought Gavin Ryan.
Yeah, Gavin Ryan's a tough cookie, that's for sure. He certainly knows his way around.
I was fortunate enough to be a judge on Gavin Ryan with Gavin Ryan and Daniel Rowsell at Lismore in May this year, and they fought a terrific fight, which was a draw over 8 rounds.
Yeah, he's fought all the best, Gavin Ryan. He's been into some real world-class opposition.
Daniel just trying to work his opponent back into the corner, but run into another left hand there.
Yeah.
Murdoch's left hand just winning this fight for him so far.
He is. He's getting this round.
It's a little bit more on the punches from Murdoch at the moment.
Real classic exhibition this so far.
Rowsell just looking a little puffy around the right eye as well, having taken some punishment from that jab of Paul Murdoch. End of round number 2 for the Australian Cruiserweight title.
Yeah, I'd say that's a 10-9 round of Paul Murdoch. Still fairly even. Both boys exchanging, you know, good combinations, but, you know, the whole fight so far has been fought off the left jab, Brad.
Yeah, good round for Paul Murdoch again. He's obviously just been able to settle in a little better into Daniel.
Let's see if we can listen in with Dad Bob and what he has for instructions.
That's good, mate. Keep on top, mate, all right? Keep working. Get the work rate going. Get the work rate going, mate. All right? All the time. Keep your work rate up. Pick it up, pick it up, pick it up.
Instructions there from Bob Murdoch. Here's Paul Murdoch working to the rib cage of Daniel Rowsell, and arguably the best moment in the fight.
Lovely. Yeah, good jab there too.
Every time he's thrown it, hasn't missed with that round 3.
Australian Cruiserweight title. This is round number 3 between Paul Murdoch in the black trunks and Daniel Rowsell in the red and gold. Barry Michael sees it 2019 at this stage. I have a similar scoreline. Brad Vicali has 2018 so far, all in favour of Paul Murdoch. Daniel Rowsell, certainly the challenge has been thrown down to him now because Murdoch is right there. His hands up high. He's working on that left jab. He's been more accurate than Rowsell with his punching so far. Nothing spectacular about Paul Murdoch. He is very efficient, unassuming. One of the theatrics that we saw a little earlier from Karim Nasher.
Yeah, he doesn't waste any energy at all. It's all, you know, very good technical stuff, but, you know, he's nice and conservative and opens up when he has to.
He's very committed, young Paul Murdoch. As I said before, John, there's nothing pretty about him. He's just very, very workmanlike, and he's come here to do a job, and he's doing this job very well. Daniel Rowsell's not giving up. He's certainly trying and trying to keep Paul. Oh, beautiful right hand over the top.
Of heads during that flurry as well that Daniel Rowsell didn't get the best of. Murdoch firing away with the left hand, and Rowsell answers with an overhand right.
Yeah, good comeback by Danny Rowsell, with nice little short left hook inside there by Paul Murdoch. Very quick reflexes there.
A fight worthy of an Australian title battle. Cruiserweight belt to the winner. And having called the Murdoch-Rowsell fight back in February, I can tell you that there's a marked improvement in Paul Murdoch since then, without a doubt, Barry.
Yep. Oh, you know, I've seen it in his last couple of fights. He really has just stepped up a level in class. Oh, nice work.
He's caught Daniel Rowsell again here with a big right hand. A little over a minute remaining in round number 3, and Murdoch certainly getting on top now if he wasn't beforehand.
He's certainly becoming very confident now, John. Barry, he's starting to throw left hooks off the left lead, and that's a sign of a confident
double
fighter.
left hook there, yep. His combination punches in the last few fights have really, you know, really shone out. I mean, before that he was strictly sort of one-dimensional, but now he's really mixed it up with, you know, body and head shots, uppercuts. He's just does a lot better work.
Well, Mary, as you would well know, you know, a fighter can do anything once he believes in himself, and I think Paul Murdoch is really now starting to believe in himself. He's got the ability to do it.
Yep, get to the stage of self-belief. Yep.
Nice little right hand by Daniel Rowsell. He's continually trying. I mean, he's not going to come second, Daniel Rowsell, is he? He'll never be left wondering.
No, he's certainly in there with a big chance, and he's in fine fettle for it, that's for sure.
Concluding stage is round number 3. Daniel Rowsell is going to have to up the tempo, as at the moment Paul Murdoch is being a little more accurate with his punches and has had the honours, particularly here in round number 3.
Yep. Another 10-9 round for Paul Murdoch.
Good round for Murdoch.
There's Daniel Rowsell on the receiving end throughout round number 3 there. Looks fatigued as he slumps down in the red corner at the moment. Frank Keane, his trainer, will go to work. Here's Bobby Murdoch with Paul Murdoch.
You can see the professionalism in both corners, John. There's no panic there at this stage.
No, you can see that, that's for sure. They're both very controlled, the corners.
Frank Keane's been around for an awful long time. Had some very good fighters, as has Paul Murdoch. Bobby Murdoch.
Brad, if you were in Rowsell's corner, what would you say to him at this stage?
What I would be trying to do is take the fight up to Paul Murdoch. Now, he's not doing enough. He's letting Paul go first.
Yep.
And as you know, Barry, everything comes off the jab. The jab sets up everything. And so, therefore, Daniel's on the back foot and he's in the offensive mode all the time. And he's just not... He's letting Paul take the fight away from him. He really needs to up his ante, get the work rate up a little bit. Bobby Murdoch, you heard in the last round, was telling Paul to up his work rate.
Yep.
Round number 4 underway for the Australian Cruiserweight title, and Daniel Rowsell in the gold trunks with red. Has his hands full at the moment. Paul Murdoch has taken the honours through the first 3 rounds.
I tell you, he's just seeing the punches just that little bit better, Paul Murdoch, as evidenced there by that nice overhand right. He just got caught by a couple of good ones himself there from Danny Rowsell, though.
He found himself flat-footed on the ropes there. Yeah. That was the only reason he did that. If he stands in and lets Daniel go first, that's what's going to happen.
Rowsell doesn't have a knockout to his credit for some 2 years. A cluster of knockouts, including on debut when he stopped Tommy West in the 4th round back in February 1997. And the more you look at Paul Murdoch's record, the better it becomes. Only 2 defeats and 1 a split points decision loss to Daniel Rowsell. He was a very accomplished performer.
They've closed heads a couple of times now, John. It's a little concerning that they're both starting to get in close and work in. This fight, I think, is going to be fought in 2 halves. I think while Murdoch's got out of the blocks fairly quickly, Rowsell, being the competitor that he is, he's not going to give up too easily. And there's been a couple of nasty little head clashes. Unfortunately, there hasn't been a cut yet, but I hope that's not the case.
And he is in real good condition, Danny Rowsell. You know, his corner would have said to him, I would imagine, you've got to take this fight up to Paul Murdoch, keep the pressure on him, keep throwing punches, which is what he's trying to do this round. He's having a bit more success this round so far.
Oh, and a nice little overhead right there by Murdoch.
That's working well for him, that shot.
He's got the punches, Barry. He's certainly got them. He's just got to use them.
Yep.
Maybe a cut on the bridge of the nose of Paul Murdoch now.
Beautiful right hand by Rowsell.
Yeah, Rowsell going a lot better this round.
And a nice little uppercut.
Well, he's not going to leave anything behind here, Daniel Rowsell. Slapping away to the body of Paul Murdoch.
Yeah, Danny Rowsell really lifted the tempo up another level this round. His work rate's a lot better.
That is a cut on the bridge of the nose there of Paul Murdoch. We saw Daniel Rowsell in his last fight in July against Paul Briggs up at the Seagulls Club that the fight was stopped in the 5th round because of a left eye cut suffered by Daniel Rowsell. Final 30 seconds, round number 4. Best round of the fight so far for Daniel Rowsell, although Paul Murdoch still has some ammunition left.
I tell you, he's expended a lot of energy this round, Danny Rowsell. I think he might have edged this round, but might tell on him.
His game plan now, as you can see, Barry, is to keep Paul Murdoch on the back foot, lay on him, try and drag a little bit of that fitness out of him that he's got. It was a good round for Daniel Rowsell.
Paul Murdoch with some work to do there in round number 4. Daniel Rowsell will be feeling a little better about himself. We anticipated this would be a very even fight on paper, and that's the way it's turned out. Don't forget, still to come, the Australian light heavyweight title will be up for grabs in our feature event. Adrian Bellin and Paul Briggs, and sandwiched in between, the current Australian welterweight champion Julian Holland will face Josh Clenshaw. And of course, let's get a look at the change rooms. Holland on the right there, and Josh Clenshaw on the left. Holland, the current Australian champ, Clenshaw, former Australian junior middleweight champion. A non-title fight, but 2 of the best accomplished boxers here in Australia. Julian Holland now down here in Melbourne has changed back to Victoria from Queensland. We look forward to him. But ahead of that, this Australian Cruiserweight title yet to be decided. Round number 5 gets underway. Paul Murdoch is in the black trunks and Daniel Rowsell in the red and gold. Rowsell winning the 4th round on my card, but still it's Murdoch who holds sway at the moment. Barry Michael has it 39-37. I see it 39-38 for Murdoch at the moment. Brad Vicali has it 39-36 for Murdoch. While we all have Murdoch ahead, certainly that
was a cut there, John.
Reflection of what's transpired in the fight so far. Referee Jim Boland trying to get between the two. Murdoch very confident at the moment. Just waiting for Daniel Rowsell to come forward, looking to pick him off. Rowsell with a nasty cut around his right eye, it would appear. Just trying to get a close look at it, but it's above the right eye. And we're going to have to call the doctor in here, you would think, perhaps to have a look at it. No, Jim Boland's happy for them to continue.
It's in the eyebrow, I think. Spurred Danny Rowsell into some action. Be a pity to see a classic contest like this. Oh, lovely uppercut. Nice uppercut from Paul Murdoch. Paul Murdoch's
he senses victory, Paul does.
Yeah, he's throwing the big ones here.
He's just wobbled Daniel there.
Well, after Murdoch was on the receiving end in the 4th round, here, round number 5, he's made it all his own. Starting to manhandle Daniel Rowsell as well.
Oh, nice right hand by Rowsell. Beautiful left hook.
Paul Murdoch was shaken then. I think he still is a bit groggy. That was a flush right hand. Oh, nice little uppercut in there from Paul Murdoch.
The skills of these two fighters is just incredible.
It is.
You see it.
Real good, very well skilled fighters, these two. Especially for big men, Brad.
It's certainly worthy of an Australian title, isn't it?
Undoubtedly. Oh, nice little uppercut and loaded up with the right hand in Paul Murdoch.
He's certainly equal to the task, Daniel Rowsell. He's not going to let Paul Murdoch just walk away with this, is he?
No.
Rowsell dropped his hands momentarily and Murdoch went after him.
Nice left hook, John.
Yeah, lovely short hook in place there for
John.
Murdoch.
The body language of Daniel just tells me he's starting to tire a little bit.
Yep.
And just
that
the mannerisms of him.
That last round, I said that it took a lot out of him. He put a lot of pressure on Murdoch, and it could take its toll on him. But he's still firing away with both hands well here.
Concluding stages, round number 5, scheduled for 12 for the Australian Cruiserweight title. Paul Murdoch in the black trunks at the moment, just getting on top of Daniel Rowsell. Still a long way to go. Rowsell just getting a little fatigued here, cut above the right eye. And the fans certainly getting their money's worth here at Fort Knox. A big crowd in attendance. Murray Thompson and Peter Hunt have done another tremendous job putting this program together. Frank Keane in the corner are going to work on that cut above Daniel Rowsell's right eye.
Yeah, it's not. It's in a dangerous position that it will bleed into the eye, but it's in a position they should be able to stop the bleeding fairly easily. It's actually in the eyebrow.
It's a shallow cut, but it's still a dangerous cut that's going to open up with another head clash or just wear and tear barriers. You will know, you've been cut a few times. But,
it would be hundreds of stitches in that position.
A terrible pity.
But really, if he's got a good corner, they should be able to control that. That was that beautiful right hand from Danny Rowsell. It really did shake Paul Murdoch there for a second.
The referee Jim Boland has ruled the cut was caused by a punch, which effectively means, John, that if the bout is stopped now, Daniel Rowsell will lose this fight by a technical knockout on cut.
Yep. Underway, round number 6. The Australian Cruiserweight title is on the line, and Daniel Rowsell in the red and gold has his hands full at the moment against Paul Murdoch in the black trunks. As you see, Barry Michael has it 49-47 at the moment. It's exactly the scoreline that I have as well. Brad Vicali has it 49-46.
Rowsell using the ring a bit more at the start of this round, moving around, instead of getting in there as he has been the last few.
He needs to change his game plan just a little bit. He's letting the round slip away from him a little bit now. And if he... Oh, the beautiful left hook right hand has got Paul in all sorts of spots.
Lovely right hand hit Paul Murdoch. A very clean knockdown there. And it was evidence in the last round that he could be caught with that right hand.
Absolutely, he got hurt that last round. Just goes to show you how a fight can turn so quickly.
For sure.
He's in trouble.
Still in trouble here. Round number 6. Rowsell looking to finish it, trying to unload on Paul Murdoch. Rowsell looking for his first Australian title is all business here in round number 6. Somewhat against the run of the fight so far. And Murdoch still not steady on his feet. He's bleeding profusely from the mouth and looks a little unsteady.
No, he's definitely badly hurt.
He's still firing back artillery of his own.
Oh, and a beautiful right hand. Did you see that?
Lovely right hand comeback. He is bleeding very heavily from the mouth. He must have had a nasty cut there when he got hit with that right hand.
Rowsell right on top of Paul Murdoch here in round number 6. He's a very tough customer, Murdoch, but Daniel Rowsell unloading some big bombs.
He's on target with that right hand. It's dangerous for Paul Murdoch to be hit with any more of those, I tell you. Danny Rowsell looking very confident at the moment.
Certainly looks like the tide of this fight has turned just that little bit. Daniel can smell victory. He's got Paul in a little bit of trouble here, and Paul just needs to be able to try and change the tide of this fight, Barry.
He does. He needs to get away and rest for the rest of this round if he can. Just stay away and move. Or
he's lost the round. He needs just
he's lost the round 10-8.
He needs to stay out of trouble now. Just forget this round and continue on. Just stay out of trouble.
Final 50 seconds as we approach the halfway stage of the Australian Cruiserweight battle. Murdoch firing back some artillery of his own. He looks a little second hand at the moment.
He does.
He's still not moving freely, and Daniel Rowsell is just regathering himself here and is going to launch another assault.
I'll tell you what, I know what I'd be saying in Danny Rowsell's corner. Just wait for that right hand over the top. He can be hit with it.
Get hit with that left hook again. He's just open for that. He's becoming a little bit flat-footed now, and that's the reason that he's standing there and getting hit for that. He's doing his work and then standing there, where before Johnny was doing his work and getting out. He was a little bit fleet of foot.
Opportunity now for Rowsell. Murdoch drops his hands, and Rowsell trying to pick him off here right at the end of round number 6. And Daniel Rowsell has turned this fight around with a big right hand in round number 6 that puts Murdoch on the canvas.
Yeah, what a turnaround. Just shows you one punch can change the pattern of a fight in a split second.
Where's the bleeding from? You know where you are? Yeah, I'm not too bad. Open your mouth. 100, 98, 92, 96, 95.
Very bad cut in the mouth.
Dangerous gash in there, Barry. It's
let's get a look at it in replay. Rowsell unloading. There's a big left. Started with the left hand and then the right to finish it.
But a very bad split in the right hand upper portion of Paul Murdoch's mouth.
It was obviously caused by a punch, Barry. Head clashes don't cut lips.
No, they don't. It was definitely that lovely right hand that did the trick.
Round number 7, the second half of the Australian Cruiserweight title fight is underway, and Paul Murdoch in the black trunks now with his hands full against Daniel Rowsell. I have them locked at 57 apiece after 6 rounds. And let's see if Paul Murdoch can weather the storm here. He was doing everything to convince his corner that they should let this continue. He needs to keep his hands up high. As a nasty gash in his lip. Rowsell bleeding from above the right eye since the previous round.
He's got a lot of heart, Paul Murdoch. He said to the doctor, the doctor asked him a couple of questions, and he was spot on. Very, very quick to sort of say, I know where I am, I know what I'm doing, I just lost the last round.
He said, I'm in front, though.
Yeah.
He knows. He's got a good, very calculating brain.
What Paul Murdoch needs to do now is just forget about that last round like it didn't happen. Get on. This is a new fight, new round. Oh, lovely right. Good right. Just as I said, and a beautiful little uppercut.
Daniel Rowsell stood still momentarily, and Murdoch tagged him with a clean right hand. This is a tremendous battle for the Australian title.
Nice jab again by Murdoch.
And it's great to see that fighters like Adam Watt, who are probably a level above these fighters, John, that they can see the ability in these young blokes, and they don't want to take that away from them. And I mean, what more worthy opponents could you have for an Australian title? And the ANBF, the ratings committee, headed by Don Marks and John Hogg up in Queensland, when I saw that I wanted to put this fight on, was approached by Craig Morty. They just gave me the green light. It was terrific to see, and I think it's justified what we did. It was a worthy contest.
Oh, for sure.
Close quarters, they go to work. Rowsell looking to have just a little more petrol in the tank at the moment. certainly Paul Murdoch looks a little better now here than he did in the previous round. He's on wobbly legs after being knocked down right to the end of the round, but appears to be a little more lucid here in the 7th as we move inside the last 60 seconds. Rowsell having success now with the jab.
Not a lot really in this round at this stage. Oh,
nice overhand. That right, it's looking dangerous, that right hand. He's been there all night with that.
He's landed some good ones. He landed a very good one at the start of this round, Paul Murdoch.
This fight's far from over, John.
Less than 30 seconds remain, round number 7. This has been a difficult round for our judges to score. Jim Slater, Gus Mercurio, Dave Wignall are the 3 judges at ringside.
I think at this stage Murdoch's just edged this round.
It's a close round. Oh, nice little left hook. This is where judges really need to be on their mettle. They need to concentrate every single second of the fight.
End of round number 7. And what we anticipated would be quite a war for the Australian Cruiserweight title is turning out to be just that. The doctor is now again moving into the Murdoch camp, wanting to get a look at the mouth of Paul Murdoch. Daniel Rowsell receiving attention there from Frank Keane, but there's the doctor just having another quick look at Murdoch's mouth, and it appears it's okay. We're going to continue here. Referee Jim Boland is in close attention as well.
Don't fall in with your shots, okay? Nailing me, top to bottom, up the middle, keep working, keep working. Dig, mate, tell us what you're made of. Come on, son, mate. Come on, mate, come on, Dan, this is Australian title. You get your belly right, mate, your eyes stop bleeding, we're sweet, okay? But Dan, more urgency with the jab. Come on, more better.
Here's some of the better action from round number 7. Not a lot in it in terms of scoring. Very difficult to separate them. And what a tremendous contest we have here for the Australian Cruiserweight title. Round number 8 gets underway. Daniel Rowsell in the red and gold. Paul Murdoch in the black trunks at the moment. I have them level at 67 apiece after 7 rounds.
I've got Murdoch a point in front at this stage. What about you, Brad? How do you see it?
I've got Murdoch 1 point ahead. It was a very close round, that last round. I think if we can find our judges' scores, you'll find that it could have gone either way.
Yeah, I just thought Murdoch might have shaded in that round.
Just towards the end, he hit him with a couple of nice cleaner punches. Got a good work rate, Paul Murdoch.
A lot of mucus coming from Murdoch's nose. Maybe he's carrying a cold into this bout.
Working upstairs there with the left hand, Murdoch. And Rowsell's equal to the challenge at the moment.
Exchanging very good jabs, both boys.
Rowsell's found his left hand now.
He's biting down hard on his mouth guard. Rowsell walked into a left hand, but now he backs up Murdoch, who staggered again with a right hand, and Daniel Rowsell comes on strong.
Yeah, that right hand's been a winner for Daniel Rowsell.
Murdoch was doing everything technically correct then. His left lead was going good. He hit him with an overhand right, and he suffered a right hand himself.
Both men have had their moments throughout the fight. Rowsell just looking a little fresher here in round number 8. Solid shots being landed in close as well here. Middle stages of this 8th stanza. We heard Frank Keane just urging Daniel Rowsell on as he triples up with a jab. Paul Murdoch.
A little right hand in close.
Now Rowsell opens up and he backs up Murdoch once more. He's on unsteady legs. He appears to be in some trouble here. Rowsell getting on top of Paul Murdoch. Referee Jim Boland is covered in blood himself at the moment. Both men have been bleeding since early in the fight.
Took by Rowsell.
Yeah, good right hand again by Rowsell. Murdoch looking in a little bit of trouble here.
John, I said earlier, I think this fight was going to be fought in 2 halves, and it appears that way that it's happened. Rowsell's found a second win.
Yep.
Found a left hand. He's just starting to sort of get on top of Paul Murdoch now.
This is not a lot of aggression coming from Paul Murdoch at the moment. It's all defence as he tries to hold Daniel Rowsell at bay. Rowsell never been in better shape, and it's showing here as we get inside the last 30 seconds of this 8th round.
I tell you, when a fight's even, if you've got great condition, it's a great help, I tell you.
Oh, absolutely.
Now Rowsell again opening up on Murdoch, and he's down here in round number 8 for the second time.
He's in a lot of trouble. A lot of trouble, Paul Murdoch.
Referee Jim Boland with the count. Now Daniel Rowsell marches across the ring. He's looking for a finish here against Paul Murdoch. Unloaded some big shots. Murdoch on the retreat once more, right at the end of round number 8. Murdoch is down again.
They've stopped the fight.
They've waved it away. It's been waved away here in round number 8, and Daniel Rowsell joins his brother as an Australian boxing champion. This time, he captures the Cruiserweight belt.
What a brilliant display. He was, you know, behind on points early, came back with that sensational knockdown and continued to take it up to Paul Murdoch, and Paul flagged from that point onwards.
He did. From around after the knockdown, from that round on, Paul tried to stem the flow in that next round. He just wasn't, and it appeared that Daniel was a lot stronger. And I mean, I think strength played a big part in this.
Strength and condition. You know,
consider that Daniel's not a renowned knockout artist, but he showed good hand speed tonight. He didn't panic.
Probably the best condition he's ever been in.
Absolutely. And boxing with a heavyweight like Carly Meehan, where Carly would have been laying on him and moving him around, but
got to be good for you.
Terrific effort by Daniel Rowsell. He's a nice young man out of the ring too.
Yep. Here's the finishing touches then from Daniel Rowsell. Paul Murdoch, almost unable to defend himself under a barrage of punches, goes down for the second time in the fight. He was down in round number 6, and then again here in round number 8. That's good, accurate punching from Daniel Rowsell.
Fabulous, Steve. Thanks for your help.
Well, Daniel Rowsell is the new Australian Cruiserweight champion. We'll get our official announcement in just a moment. Brad Vicali, thanks very much for joining us here in the commentary position. Lovely to have your thoughts and insight into this great battle.
John, it's been an absolute pleasure and a lot of fun.
Well, there's Paul Murdoch, very brave in defeat. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe he's even broken a jaw in the process. He was taking enormous punishment. But let's get the official announcement. Here is Terry Hansen.
Ladies and gentlemen, at the end of round 8, referee Jim Boland says the fight has stopped. And the new Australian Cruiserweight champion is Daniel Rowsell.
Well, the Rowsell family have a tremendous sporting pedigree. Their father won a Calgary Stampede, was a fantastic horseman. Justin Rowsell, former Australian champion. Let's get a word with the new Australian Cruiserweight champion. Here's Daniel Rowsell.
Daniel, sensational fight against a guy you've got to have a lot of respect for. Yep.
Oh, Paul Murdoch, what a champion. I'm the Australian champion. I'm so excited. It's hard to explain. It's hard to put it into words how I feel. I've just got so many people to thank tonight who've been so close to me. Frank Keane, my trainer, my corner. I went and had a few words with Jeff the Hitman Hardy yesterday, and he gave me a few inspirational words, and they really lifted me when I needed.
And maybe you thought you were going to get there with that knockdown in round 6?
Yeah, I rushed it a bit early, but Frank told me to settle down, and then I settled down, and everything went to plan. I'm just so wrapped, I can't believe it.
Enjoy your title, ladies and gentlemen, a new champ, Daniel Rowsell.
I'd like to thank my sponsors. I just picked up a new sponsor the other day, Sportsbet Australia, and they let me have a little something on myself, so I've gone home a winner there. And Wired.com, thanks very much to them. And Limelight Signs, Darren, appreciate all your help. Lisa, I love you, baby. Mum at home, Dad and Justin, everyone. I'm so excited. Thank you.
There he is, folks.
Well, he's very excited indeed and has every reason to beat Daniel Rowsell. It's been a long climb to the top for the former Australian amateur champion, but now he is the Cruiserweight champion of Australia. And his name will be right at the top of the rankings for the Cruiserweights. Adam Watt, Paul Briggs still to come here in this fine program from the Knox Entertainment Centre. And Daniel Rowsell and Paul Murdoch, worthy opponents for the Australian title. Rowsell gets the decision. And what about Anthony Mundine? I wonder how far away he is from getting a crack at an Australian title and maybe becoming Australian champion, just like Daniel Rowsell. We'll find out as we take you to the latest action involving